the Baltimore Orioles skipper, Buck Showalter, here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Buck?
Rich, how we looking? How we doing?
I'm doing great. Love having you on the show. I appreciate you calling in.
What's going on?
Well, you know what? Lots going on. I've been strolling down memory lane about you, Buck. First couple. No, come on now.
Hey.
I just remember those 2 weeks in that World Series, just getting to hang with you. It was a fun time.
It was cold. Okay.
It was cold.
I knew your preparation because you were the only guy that had the proper overcoat. You looked very sideline professional.
Well, you know what? I only know one speed when it comes to fashion.
The scarf, the gloves.
Yeah.
Good look.
Well, in Arizona it wasn't, but you know, and you told me this one story about how before the stadium was open in Arizona that you were jogging around the circumference of the stadium and you noticed something was amiss with the foul poles. You remember that story, Buck?
We had originally, you know, I'd go out scouting, doing different stuff at expansion draft, and I'd come back and sit up in the stands and contemplate life as they were building the stadium.
Yeah.
And they had put the foul poles in, and the netting that sticks out in fair territory was in foul territory. And they had set all these foul poles in concrete. It was a huge thing to finally get the foul poles in, and we had to bring a big truck and crane back in and break up the concrete and spin the foul poles. So that was my one contribution there.
That was, well, come on now. You did a lot more there, Buck.
It was fun. It was fun. I tell you, somebody came back and said, hey, we're going to expand again. Would you like to run the expansion draft and process? I'd go, been there, done that, almost killed me, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, and then that was after your time with the Yankees, and before we get to your current state of things, where things are going hunky-dory for the first couple of weeks of the season. The '94 Yankees, do you think you would have made the World Series if there was no strike that year, Buck?
Yes, you got to understand, Dan Duquette, our general manager, Felipe and I, who was managing Expos at the time, I think it would have been a great World Series. We were just starting to hit our stride, too. I think we were 6.5, 7.5, something like that, maybe 5.5 games up in middle of August, and we were starting to get all our people back that had been hurt. And that was a great piece club, good defensively, deep starting pitching. Our bullpen was solid, and we had a lot of movable parts in the infield and outfield, and that was just a fun club. And I still, you know, we all remember where we were, like when we heard that President Kennedy had been assassinated, different stuff. I can remember, obviously not on the same scale as that.
No, sure.
Watching Bud Selig announced that the season had been canceled and going, really? We're actually going to do this? Something this stupid? And it was tough. It was tough. And I know Felipe and I used to talk about it. He'd always say, I would have killed y'all. And I said, I don't think so.
Yeah, Yankees Expos World Series. That's what was going down in '94.
They had some computer thing that plotted the two teams. And it was challenging next year because we came back with a defending champions mentality and no ring to show for it. And it took us a while to get our motor running again the next year.
You know, and then, you know, O'Neill was on that team. Mattingly, obviously, was on that team. And you guys had Wade Boggs. You know, you guys had it all working at that time. And it was also because of the cotton uniforms that George Costanza had changed for you, too, right, Buck?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And I've heard that show was pretty popular, and I ended up doing it for my kids. And I still have to pay taxes on every time they show that episode.
What? Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. Between the Actors Guild and what they pay you for each time they show it. Somebody walks up and stands, hey, I saw your episode last night. I go, oh, geez, there's another $19.72.
What is your residual check that you're getting from that one episode of the Seinfeld?
Covering the taxes, young man.
So you're in the red when it all comes down to it, Buck?
Every time somebody says, hey, I saw the Seinfeld show yesterday, I go, oh, jeez. Here we go again.
There's more money out of the pocket.
Here it's popular, though.
And then before, again, I'm just love strolling down memory lane. Give me your favorite Deion story, riding the bus with Albany in the Albany Colony Yankees.
Great teammate. Best athlete I've ever seen. Guys loved him. His whole persona in football was different in baseball, very smart. We had an inside the park home run in New York where he and Bo Jackson were going back and forth. Bo was playing center field for Kansas City, and Bo was talking about how Deion couldn't tackle. I was giving him grief before the series and back and forth, and Deion, you know, he put in his share of stuff, so it was a big deal. Well, Bo hits 2 home runs first 2 times up, and it's like, wow. And Deion's a little on his heels, not much. So finally, he hits a ball in the right center field gap, and Bo dives for it, separates his shoulder, and is out for the season, by the way. And Deion comes around second. He's putting it in shutdown mode. He's pretty proud of that triple, and the place is going crazy. Now, you got to understand, we hadn't scored a run in a month there in New York. And I'm coaching third. So anything that even looks remotely, so I keep pumping him. And he comes around third, and he goes, oh, my God, he puts it in another gear. This guy ran like nobody else. You talk about speed, this was elite speed. And it was entertaining just to watch him run. So anyway, he comes into home plate, and the catcher short hops him. He's out about 10 feet, but short hops him. The ball goes about 2 feet behind the plate. Deion jumps over the top of the catcher, scrambles back, barely touches the plate before they can tag him, and the umpire from Hooks, Texas, calls him safe. And so Deion, I'm walking back in. He goes, brother, what are you doing? I said, Deion, I can't let Bo show you up like that. I said, and plus we hadn't scored a run in a month. It was pretty funny. You had to be there.
No, it's great.
He walked by me as he's going back out to center field. He goes, man, what are you doing? I go, man, I can't let Bo show you up like that.
Hey, he loves you to this day, Buck, and I know he
Good
came.
man.
I know he came out and he hit some BP in Camden Yards when we were there
ready.
for a Ravens
I'm sorry,
game.
He's ready. You know, his son's a wide receiver, a defensive back. I'm not sure, kick returner at
He's all of it.
Methodist.
Yeah, but no, the question is did he said that he yanked some out of the park that day?
Oh yeah.
He did?
I'm telling you. Hey, like all of us, once we're as good as we ever were.
I'm on the phone with Buck Showalter right here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you a different manager now than in the days that we just discussed? How are you different?
I don't know, Rich. I don't wake up in the morning and go, all right, today I've got to be perceived as this, and now I've got to change this. And, we all learn from life's experiences. Mm-hmm. We get better. We go, geez, that wasn't a good. I learn more from managers sometimes about what not to do as opposed to what to do. And you take everything in, and you got to be yourself. You're comfortable in your own skin, I guess, as you get older, and you learn that more is not always better sometimes. And it's a player's game. It's about them, and it's a privilege, and they allow you to manage them. And you better keep that in mind because it's going to survive just fine without you.
What do you make of this whole conversation that Bryce Harper sparked about making baseball fun again, Buck?
There's parts of it, I'm sure, if I read it, you'd have to read it to me. It's been a great. I watch games with the sound off, and I don't read anything, not because I don't like them, and most people, it just doesn't help me do my job. But I will say this: the year I was with ESPN, I was my son's groundskeeper. Mm-hmm. I said, I will be your groundskeeper. I'm not going to coach a baseball team, but I love taking care of the field and what have you. Mm-hmm. But one day, he's got 15, 16 guys out for baseball, and I said, the problem here. I said, look over on the basketball court. Look over here on the football field. Look over here on the lacrosse field. There's action. People are doing things. I said, look at your practices. You just had a kid stand out in left field for an hour and a half, and you wonder why nobody's playing baseball? And I said, all the things that we do that are fun. You catch the ball, you run the bases, you throw it, you hit it. There's action. You have none of that in your practices. He goes, wait. I said, listen, I got your practice for one day. So we go out there and we go, all right, everybody grab a position that you want to play. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to play shortstop. So go play there. I said, I'm pitching. It's an 0-2 count on everybody. No walk. Okay? Mm-hmm. You want to catch? Put the gear on. Strap it on. Make sure you got a cup. And make sure the mask fits. Let's go. And then after every hitter, push up one position. So the ball's in play. People are filling the ball. People are running the bases. People are swinging the bat. And next thing you know, it was like they were playing a pickup basketball game. They were having a blast. And people from around the school were looking over and said, what sport is that? Next week they had 3 or 4 guys come out for baseball. And I said, it's not their fault. It's our fault. And then I'll bet you that's some of what Bryce was talking about. And that's why when you go to Latin America, some of these places, you see sometimes we have too much structure. You can take this travel baseball, and it's not good for players' shoulders, elbows. When I see in a media guide that guys played multiple sports, it's good. Red flag is baseball only, travel teams. That's a red flag for scouts. Okay, I'm done, Rich. Thanks for listening. I have more.
No,
you can tell it's a pet peeve of mine.
No, I can. But I guess bringing it all full circle, you got somebody like Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson who's like, you know what? I have Hall of Fame talent in football, but I want to try baseball. You had somebody like Michael Jordan who retires. I says, you know what? I want to try baseball.
There's a lot of jealousy. When these guys try both, you hear all these guys going, oh, this is terrible. Well, there's jealousy. These guys are that talented, okay? They are. And, God bless them. And that's, whether it's Bryce or whether it's Manny here, and, I'm not trying to suppress personalities and whatever. God, if they were all the same, it'd be boring. Mm-hmm. And they wouldn't need managers and coaches.
And so what do you do to let the guys be the guys, Buck? What do you do?
We manage a game. The game starts, we get about 3 hours, depending on who's pitching, who's umpiring. we try to make their path easier. I mean, there's enough, you put the right structure in place, but it's something that they want to be about. I mean, we get through a spring training, we throw the notebook out. You guys make whatever rules you want to be, but, don't put something in there you're not willing to enforce. I'm not chasing them around the streets at night. They'll show up and they'll police themselves. Put the right people in place. And if enough of them want to win, they'll make the right sacrifices along the way. But it's not about, some beard or how you wear your uniform. And, it's all about a team. And it's about a team. Are you willing to be part of a team and care what your teammates think?
Last question for you. You mentioned the notebook. What are you writing in that book, Buck? What notes? What are you
I will
writing?
never tell.
Come on.
One day. I feel like somebody came out with a book the other day. Can they legally do that? Come out with a book?
Come out with what book? What do you mean?
Book. Somebody wrote a book. I don't know. One day I might write a book. I don't know. I doubt it.
No, but so you're taking notes for your memoirs during the middle of the second inning for this?
Of course not. No, of course not.
So what are you doing? What's in there?
I'll never tell. There's some things, little notes. One day you'll be 59 and you'll have trouble remembering everything you want to remember at the end of the day. I have a to-do list. I'll tell you something else. I have a list at the end of the day that I make that says, here's what we got accomplished today. So you don't feel like you had a terrible day. Try that sometime, Rich. Instead of saying, geez, I didn't get this done, write down all the things you did get done. You'll feel better about yourself.
Right. And it's 1 year from now, the anniversary of the game that you played in an empty park, Buck. A week coming up. What in the world was that like? I haven't spoken to you since then.
I tell you, the worst thing, other than why we were doing it, is that the umpires could hear every word we were saying. I mean, you couldn't say anything. And what's funny? After there was no walk-up music, there was no things. And I got to tell you, actually, the game was pretty much pure game after about an inning or so. Everybody just played the game. But it wouldn't, obviously not something we'd like to do a lot.
No, of course. And this, as you mentioned, the circumstances surrounding it. Buck, I hardly even asked you about your team, so I'd love to have you back. As the season runs along, I love chatting with you. It's been too long.
Yeah, we've got some good people. They're fun to watch. I got a great seat every night, as Billy Martin used to say. I go down the hallway and I see what the boys have in store for me tonight.
Yeah, and you've got like Jones and Davis and Machado and all the other guys that have been chipping in. It's been phenomenal to watch so far. So
yeah, there's about 12 of them homegrown. We're proud of our system. Hey, Rich, take care. Thanks for having me.
Take care, Buck. You take care. We'll chat soon.
Okay, man.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. That's Buck Showalter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.